Hi yogis, welcome to this short practice dedicated to yoga for difficult emotions. The practices themselves are not complicated and not specific to an emotion necessarily, just kind of personal preferences really. But it's structured around the mindfulness technique, or I suppose you could call it mindfulness technique. And the acronym for this technique is PANAM. So presence, orientation, noticing, allowing, movement. And so that's pretty much the foundation of everything. And so today we'll practice one of the ways in which you can address a state of overwhelm. So when you're feeling really overtaken by everything that's going on in your life. And I would like to start with a small short meditation. So find a seat. If seat is not okay, if you don't want to sit up, you can lie down. It's absolutely fine. My seat is elevated a few inches off the floor, and you can do the same, especially if you're sitting cross-legged or anything like I'm doing, or you can kneel. Again, you can elevate your seat. So anything that lifts your hips higher than your knees and will bring ease to your knees and general folding of the legs, so you're not going to feel any discomfort. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable. You can shift around and use it as a way of, it's like a little routine to enter the space of your practice. It's like a doorway. And once you're settled, go ahead and maybe close your eyes, or take your time to close your eyes. Just soften your gaze so you can notice space around you. So there's space around you rather than things. So your eyesight is not as focused. And then just take a few deep breaths out. So exhale a few times. Whether you just take a deeper breath in before you sigh the breath out, or whether you just exhale and notice that you're exhaling. And you're exhaling physically, exhaling mentally, exhaling emotionally, exhaling psychically. So just beginning to empty the container. And let the sound of the singing bowl be that transition, again, the entryway into your practice, bringing your awareness to the body. So we start with the basic presence. So we want to be awake and aware in this moment. So starting to sense and feel everything that you can inside and in your surroundings. So start to acknowledge that you're on your mat. You're here to practice. You notice where you are in your space and how you're feeling. And then from presence, we move to orientation. So you orient yourself in space. So you start to notice that you're grounded. There's a seat to your pose, or there's a foundation to your pose. There's support for the body. There's real outsourced support for you right now. And then at the same time, also starting to feel more centered. So see if you can trace the plumb line of your body. So from the tip of the tail to the crown of the head and back. So not only you're connected to the earth, which supports you, but also start to extend your awareness of being connected to perhaps people around you. So maybe in your day, your family is there in the background, maybe not in the same space right now, maybe they are. So connecting to your support systems, but also to everything that surrounds you. That's your orientation. And then we move on to noticing. So noticing your body. Notice the body that you inhabit right now. So the state of overwhelm in your body. Where is it in your physical body? How does it feel? Can you locate it? And then we are allowing. So we allowing this emotional state to be here. We don't want to push it away. And even consider a possibility that for today, the state of overwhelm is your teacher. So this is your teacher for the day. So we allow for the teacher to be there. We don't resist. And finally, we come to movement. An initial movement in the body is really the movement of your breathing. So notice how your breath flows in the body. And maybe without forcing or pushing or trying really hard, let the breath spread. So you can exhale a bit more, inhale a bit more, and see how you can use the breath to touch all those places in the body that may be a little bit dormant at the moment, and also all those places that are affected by the overwhelm. Those of you practicing Ujjayi breath, by all means use Ujjayi breath. Just don't let it be an autopilot setting, so you're mindful of what's happening. So we are present to this moment. We are oriented in our connection to the ground and our surroundings. We are noticing always the state of our body, state of our mind. And then we allowing for whatever is naturally there to be there, in this case our state of overwhelm, which is our teacher. And then we start to move, but the first movement, the foundation of movement, is our breath. And so really in this mini practice, what we're saying is we're saying yes to ourselves. We're not denying any part of ourselves. And if the breath is choppy, that's okay, let it be choppy. And if the breath can evolve and become smooth, let it be smooth. We're not really asking of anything of ourselves or our bodies or our breath. And we'll gently start to move the body from here. So if your eyes were closed, you can blink them open. And the first place we're going to go is we're going to rearrange the legs. So if you were lying down or if you were kneeling, just take a moment in your own time, just transition so you can sit with your legs crossed. If you, like me, had the legs folded, just extend them away, flex, extend, do what you need to do before crossing your legs with one shin in front of the other and having your feet flexed, just to protect your knees. Pad away if you need to, and you can still stay on the seat. And the first place we're going to go to is so-called Sufi rolls. So I'm going to go anti-clockwise first. There we go. I had to think about it. And so there is no specific way of moving here. You just want to consider. So this is kind of like, this is one of those kind of a little bit chaotic movements, I guess. So it's not like a very precise held asana, and I often think of a vortex of a hurricane, you know, the spinning around, and sometimes that's how you feel in your life. Everything's spinning. And so you kind of mimic that spinning, rotational movements in your body, and you start to synchronize it with your breath. And again, you're welcome to close your eyes, and you're welcome to make these circles bigger. You can make them smaller, you can make them faster, you can make them slower. So you can just have a sense of your own system. So you start to kind of mimic the state of your life in your body. And then as you get into the rhythm of this, you can then start to modify it. So you can slow down. You can be more deliberate. And sometimes, you know, the neck and the head get disconnected, which it's what happens in the overwhelm. You get completely disconnected from the body, just live in your head. And so see if you can allow the head and neck to follow this movement. Just a few more here. And again, you can spend as long as you like here. This is just kind of my way of sensing this and being with it. You can pause, you can stay here longer. So what eventually you do perhaps is just start to circle smaller and make your way to that same midline. So start to find the center. So you start to find a still point as you slowly circle in. Pause. And then we'll take our hands and reach behind you. Fingers possibly pointing forwards, but it's up to you. You can point them back. And just lean enough so you can lift the chest. You can lift the chest skywards. And the head, leave the head alone. You don't have to drop it back unless it's okay for your neck. Just lift the chest and maybe take a couple of deep breaths in. And then slowly push yourself up. Release if you need to roll the shoulders around a few times each way. Again, simple things are usually most powerful. And we're going to change the crossing of the legs and circle the other way. So if you need to free the legs, shake them out and then fold with the other opposite shin in front. And most likely it will be the one that feels awkward. So same situation again. We were going anti-clockwise. Now we're going clockwise. So it's you start to circle around. And you might hear some funny noises in the belly. That's all good. All good. So again, initially, if if this is the time, really genuinely overwhelming time, and practicing is just not happening, you're not in the right state, this movement can feel really just all over the place. And so just let yourself be all over the place. Let the movement express how you feel. And then within that chaos, gradually, maybe you'll find a way towards a center. And again, we still want to kind of play in the same field of Pranam. So presence, we stay present to what's here right now. And then we orient ourselves in space, so we find what's supporting us and grow from there. Find our center. We're noticing any shifts, any changes in our emotional states. We're allowing for anything that we find to be there, and we let movement guide us. So slowly start to find your way back to center. So again, your rhythm, your practice. Again, most movements are arbitrary. They're just kind of selected. You can choose your own. You can find your way to play with this. So gradually find your center, or the best or closest you can find to center right now. And then come back to stillness. And this time around, after you find some stillness and reconnect to your breath, we're going to interlace your fingers, turn the palms away from you, and take a breath in as we reach the arms overhead. And wanting to create as much space as possible for the neck, so shoulders stay away from your ears, and then elongate the spine. Maybe even look upwards towards your hands. Take a few breaths. And then as you exhale, release the arms again, release your hands, roll the shoulder blades, the shoulders around a few times each way. Do what you need to do. You may want to move your neck from side to side. Again, a place of tension for most of us. And then from here, we'll gently shift to all fours. Excuse my adjusting of the wires all the time. And so we'll shift to all fours from here. So you can free your legs, move your prop out of the way. So transition in a way that is meaningful for you. And then come onto all fours for a very simple cat-cow transition. So all fours, toes tucked under or otherwise. So again, presence. So I'm here right now. So always come back to here and now. Here I am in this shape. I'm oriented in space in a certain way, so I connect to the ground. I remind myself that it's my friend. I can root down to support myself. I also find my center, my plumb line. I notice how I am at this point in time, and I allow for everything I find to be there, because what is there is my teacher for today. And then I start to move. So as you inhale, lift the tail, lift the chest, lift the head. And as you exhale, press down, drop the tail round, head comes down last. And as many times as you need to. So just carry on, inhale, open. Exhale, round. Move as slow or as fast as you need, so long as your attention remains in the now, in this practice. And then maybe, if you feel like it's appropriate, and again, this is entirely up to you, you can start to add on side-to-side movements. So you start to add lateral movements, and then also back to front and up and down. So you can kind of start to meander. You meander in your own body, shape-shifting this cat-cow in whichever way. Again, it may feel chaotic, but actually what you're doing is you're letting the body feel and free any spaces that may be restricted by that sense of too much, and just moving around, reshuffling it. Be mindful, be present, and gently find your center again. So as you meander around, just finally find your way back home. And then we'll tuck the toes under, shift back, and of course the downward facing dog is coming. So you can take your time to get into downward facing dog. It can be puppy pose for a while, depending on what's going on for you. And the first dog, we're not here in this practice for perfection. We're not seeking anything out. We're just giving time and space to what's there. Meanwhile, moving our body. So I'd normally walk and I'd spin. And so just improvise here, making sure that any places where you're already holding on to tension, like your shoulders, your neck, your back, They can be free from tension. You're not exaggerating that. Eventually find some stillness. Find your center again. How is the breath? And then we'll inhale and lift the heels and let the tail drop down and gently wave into plank pose. And just take a breath in the plank pose. Maybe you'll lower the knees first. So have a sense of engaging with the ground. So if I push into the ground and find that connection to my support system, it can lift me up. It can give me strength. And then maybe if your knees were up, lower them down. Slowly lower yourself down. So if you like knees just in, then do that. That's my favorite. I get to create space at the front of the throat, but of course you can just lower yourself to the floor. And as you come down to the floor, a little prostration here. You're going to take the hands and extend them behind your back, and then interlace the hands. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other lightly. Elbows are not overwhelmed. I don't want to hyperextend them. I'm going to elongate the neck, elongate the spine, press into the ground, and gently come up into Shalabhasana. Maybe pick up my legs and take a breath or two here. And then from here, hands go just above your waist. And we shift to all fours, so press into the floor. Knees stay down, hands press down. Inhale, shift to all fours. Exhale, child's pose with your arms overhead. And just bow for a moment. So you're welcome. You can connect the hands and make this kind of short prostration pose. I like this. It's a very symbolic pose of surrender. And what you're surrendering is not really the action. You know, sometimes if people ask, what does it mean to surrender? Does it mean I don't have to do anything? Well, surrendering means you just let go of your attachment to a specific outcome. That's what you're surrendering. So you surrender your attachment to the outcome. So you perform diligent actions, but you let go of feeling like you have to get somewhere. So there's a sense of relief, but you still dedicate yourself to giving this time to yourself, to your practice. And then your hands can support, again, place them by the sides of your head, pick yourself up, walk back to all fours and back into downward facing dog from here. So when you're ready, make your way there again, walk, spin, do what you need to do. Remember, you don't have to have straight legs. And then from here, as you inhale, look forwards. And it's a little saunter, so you're going to walk your feet forwards kindly towards your hands. Arrive, take an extra breath in, elongate your spine, heart lifts, head follows, exhale, bow. And then root to rise. You can roll your spine the first time around. This is my favorite thing to do. So I give it some time and space to open up. And then my head and my arms reach up. Exhale, float those arms, the wings by your side. So we're going to do about, some would call it half sun salute. I think it's a quarter sun salute. And mostly just emphasis on the breath and movement connection. So just root through your feet, elongate the spine, grow taller. Again, same pranam abbreviation, so presence, orientation, noticing, allowing, and then moving. So wherever you are, begin to exhale. And then inhale, arms will float up. Again, watch out for your neck. Elongate more, maybe watch your hands touch. Exhale, dive forwards. Knees can be soft. You can roll if it works best for your spine today. Inhaling, heart lifts, head follows. Elongate the spine. Exhale, bow to your legs. And then root through the feet, start to rise up, inhaling. Arms reach overhead. And we'll dive forward straight away. Exhale, dive forwards. Inhale, heart lifts, head follows. Exhale, bow. And once again, root to rise, inhale. Exhale, arms by your sides. So maybe let's do this 3 more times, okay? And then we'll move on from there. So you can just fall into your own rhythm. And if there's anything else you want to add, by all means. So inhale. Exhale. And oftentimes what I do is I close my eyes. Inhale. Which also challenges your balance in a way. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up. Dive forward straight away, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Last one, exhale, dive forwards. If you're moving at your own pace, you can ignore my voice altogether. Just follow your own breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then root to rise. Inhale. Exhale, arms by your sides one more time. And so from here, we'll move into tree pose, Vrikshasana. So all of the balancing poses I find in the play, simple ones, when you feel overwhelmed, they require your presence and paying attention to the foundation and all of the things that I've mentioned. And so you start to find in all of the moving parts, you start to find your center with a bit more ease. That's the plan anyway. So if you need to hold on to something, by all means, soften the knees. So I'm going to start with my left foot. So again, I focus on what stays on the floor, right? And in the same in your life, when there's so many moving pieces, try to focus your attention on things that are there, like constant things. Your body is a constant. So in its own way. One hopes. Anyway, so left foot, left foot, left foot. That's what I focus on. And then my right heel comes up. And initially I just pick up my right knee and I balance here. And I'm not really aiming to pull the leg up. So I see how far I can come up and then turn the knee out so the foot can rest somewhere. And hopefully it's somewhere above the knee. It's, it's debatable whether it's okay or not to press on the knee. You can go as low as your ankle, and then we'll add on to that. So the arms are going to extend out to the sides, and then they're going to go overhead. Okay, so wherever you decide to be, you want to press the foot into the leg into the foot, and then breathe there. So notice whether you tend to, when you're struggling with something, whether your natural reaction is to get your teeth into it, sometimes very literally in a yoga pose. If you fall out of this, just go back there one more time, or 2 more times, or 3 more times. So do you start to bite on something and grip? Can you soften around the edges a little bit there? Find your breath. And then gently point the knee forwards, exhale, release. Arms may float by your sides again. Pause. So notice how much gripping was happening. And then smile. Remember to notice things, allow things, but not really fight them. Don't fight them. Use them as your teacher. And then let's go to the other side. So right foot, think right foot, pick up the left knee. So this will be my easiest side. Very simply my easiest side. And I noticed that I like to lean into easier things. Who doesn't? So again, the foot will park itself against the inner thigh. Try to connect. Arms go out to the side. So maybe you're below the knee. Don't go by what I'm doing. Try to press the foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot. Then reach your arms and breathe. So I'm present. I know where the ground is and trying to find my center, my plumb line. I'm noticing sensations in the body, my emotional state, how I like or don't like to grip. I'm allowing for everything that's there to be there. I'm not fighting it. I'm using it as my teacher. And there's subtle movement of my breath and subtle shifts through my foot. And if you've fallen out, you can go back in there. Go back in there as many times as it takes you. And then slowly the arms are going to float. Point the knee forwards, release. Take a few breaths, check in. How are you doing? And we'll float again, so we'll inhale, reach the arms. And then exhale, roll or hinge. You're welcome to bend the knees. Just enjoy the exhale. Inhaling, this time heart lifts, head follows, but plant your hands. And exhale, step into plank one more time. And then again, knees, chest, chin, or knees down. Lower yourself to the floor. If you feel like a positive challenge, you can go through Chaturanga. And Shalabhasana, again, if possible, interlace your hands just to give it a little bit more zing. So, or not, you decide. Just lift your chest, lift your legs, breathe. Exhale, release. And this time optional upward dog, but of course you can always shift to all fours. No pressure whatsoever. Just make your transition meaningful. So use the ground to help you to lift your body. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So find your downward facing dog and bring the feet closer together. So this is where we're going to have a little bit more fun. So here we go, balancing again. Just breathe. So you're going to inhale and take the right leg up and back. And when you take the right leg up and back, you're not trying to spin it out. So make sure your right toes are pointing straight down. Even if your leg is not very high up. Height is not important. And then very lightly hug the inner thighs towards each other. So it will help you to find the midline better. Try to hug your right arm towards the midline too. So everything's hugging in towards the midline. But slowly start to get lighter and lightless through your left hand. You don't have to lift it initially. Just get lighter and see what it feels like. Same presence orientation. Noticing, allowing movement. Yeah. So left hand gets lighter and lighter. And maybe you can kind of come up onto your left fingertips by the side of your body. And toy with the idea of picking up your left arm off the floor altogether. You don't have to do it right away. You can toy with the idea. So maybe your hand comes away, maybe it goes by the side of your body, or maybe it doesn't leave the floor at all. And notice in this chaos of trying to organize yourself, how is it going? And can you have a smile on your face doing it, or is it just like stress and grip? See if you can find some kind of little play. And then as you exhale, lower the foot And lower the hand back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. And let's go to the other side. So left leg is going to go up and back. Try to bring the feet closer so they're closer to the midline. It makes it easier to balance. So left leg goes up and back. Everything's hugging towards the midline. Like squeezing everything towards the midline. Finding your center. Find your gazing point, drishti. And then your right hand gets lighter and lighter, but you're not under any obligation to do anything with it. You're just toying with the idea. So you're kind of testing your balance, testing your center, testing your support. You're venturing out in a very playful way. Okay. How far can I take it without taking it all personally? All of this impermanence, it's not personal. It really isn't. You should stop taking it personally. It's just a bit of, it's life, movement. Okay, so maybe another few breaths here. How's it going? How's it going? And then return the foot and the hand down in your own time. Take a breath or two, readjust, walk. Breathe. And then again, take your right leg up and back, extend it. And then as you exhale, bring your knee to your nose, maybe give it a smooch. So your hips are high, your hands are pressing. And very lightly step your right foot forward. And then pivot the left heel, bring it down. And it will be Virabhadrasana 1. Of course, you can always make it into crescent or just a lunge. Hug the inner thighs. Slowly come up. As you inhale, the arms will reach up. And maybe you look up. So a very big maybe. Maybe you'll close your eyes. Take another breath or two. How's it going? And as you exhale, swim back, roll onto the ball of your left foot, and soften the left knee. So I'm going to be on my fingertips. So try to pick up your right leg without scraping the mat. Step it back. Adjust yourself in down dog. Breathe. Let's do the easy side. Take your left leg up and back. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose, hips high. Step the foot lightly forwards. Help it through if you need to. Pivot the back heel, bring it down. Pull the inner thighs towards each other. So again, you're adducting to find your pelvic floor, essentially, and the plumb line is up slightly. And then you'll come up with your arms. So you inhale. Again, maybe hands touch, maybe you watch them to do so. I like sometimes to cross my thumbs. However illegal it may be in the yoga world, try to pull my arms apart to create space across the shoulders. Maybe close your eyes. So maybe a couple more breaths. How's your center? How's your presence? How's your allowing? And then exhaling, release. So again, fingertips, fists, hands on the floor, roll to the ball of your right foot, softly bend the knee. Try not to scrape the mat, pick up the left foot, step it back. And let's get back through this mini vinyasa. You decide. Again, you're not in a rush. So you're inhaling, shifting into plank. Exhaling your transition to the floor. Only challenge yourself in a positive way. Positive challenge. Come down, Shalabhasana. And then we'll take it into Dhanurasana. So this time, rather than clasping your hands, have your arms either side. You know what to do for Shalabhasana. Pick yourself up, Maybe your arms come up, and then bend the knees, reach back, and maybe you'll get clasp. But again, I'm not wrestling with myself to get a clasp. I reach, and if the things meet, they meet. Kick back, lift the chest. You may or may not want to lift your thighs. So play, again, that sense of play, curiosity. This curiosity, sometimes it's totally chaotic in the body, in the mind. So this is your teacher for the day. Yeah, chaos, which overwhelms. So you're kind of playful with it. Playful, 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 and maybe somewhere in there you'll find a still point. And your breath. So at some point, come down. Again, very optional upward facing dog. You can just shift to child's pose for a bit. Root to rise. Down dog is maybe where we meet. Okay, so one more play here. Right leg up and back. Inhale. Just like before, everything connects to the midline. So toy with the idea of making your left arm redundant. So you're not leaning into it. And then maybe your left arm can go out to the side and your right leg can go out to the side, any amount. So you challenge your balance a little bit more without gripping, with same sense of curiosity, right? And then you can come back and replace them. Okay, and let's go to the other side. So find your center first. Inhale, left leg up. So this is kind of a sense of increasing intensity, much like in your life. You know, that's how you get overwhelmed. It's intense, intense, intense. And most of the time I choose to either ignore it or push through it, or both. So this is what I mean. This is your teacher. So, okay, so intensity is building, but I'm being curious and playful. So where is my edge? Where's my edge? And then I don't get overwhelmed, because for me, it's just finding my center all along. It doesn't matter how far. So limbs moving out to the side, any amount. This is not my easy side. I don't like it, but I don't have to like it. I don't have to take it far. So there you go. Find your center again. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. And then lion's breath. Let it all out. And again, breath in. And lion's breath. You can do one more on your own. So you're going to take your right leg up and back. And this time, bend the knee and open the hip. You're welcome to flip it. I'm not going to flip the dog. I'm just going to open the hip because it feels good. Yeah, I might want to let myself lean. And then I'm going to bring the knee towards my right triceps. Let the right foot go over to the left and land head in towards kind of pigeon prep. So Ekapada Raj Kapotasana prep. And so when I land, I want my knee to be closed for today. So my right heel, if your knees are not up for this at all, you can just tuck the heel under, okay? Or just be in a lunge. Just a simple Anjaneyasana lunge, so you don't have to load the knee in this way. My right thigh is parallel to the long side of my mat. And then I'm going to use support. I'm going to use a blanket that I've used before underneath my right thigh. Why not? And I'm going to try to hug everything towards the midline again and ease forwards. And ease forwards and maybe have my elbows. So you have options. You can push the floor away here. You can land on your elbows, have a think about it. You can cradle your skull, or you can descend all the way down. And just pause here. Breathe. So presence, orientation, noticing, allowing, movement. So obviously you're not tolerating any pain in the knee. And you can take this into a chest opener, so your hands can land either side and you can climb up an imaginary ladder of your spine. It's one of my favorite things to do. You can inhale and exhale way forwards, and you can do it as many times as you like. Or you can keep your chest above the floor, glide it across towards your knee. Bring the left elbow in front of the right knee, somewhere, anywhere we can press it down, and then go into a twist here. And that will require that you squeeze your inner thighs a little more towards each other for balance. And you can make it into a rotation if it's appropriate. Freeing your neck. Keeping your breath. Keeping the length in the sides of your spine. The sides of your rib cage. And then slowly coming down and back to center. So you may need to remove your prop. Place your hands wherever they need to be. Tuck the back toes under. Pick your front knee up. Take it back into your three-legged dog. Exhale, lower the foot down. Again, spin, move, do whatever you need to do. We'll go to the other side from here. So inhaling, left leg up and back. Inhale, exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Enjoy. So allow yourself, again, that freedom to move. Yes, there is alignment. And then you can always find that alignment by coming back to center. But initially allow yourself that little bit off the beaten track thing. And then knee comes in. So left knee, left triceps, left foot goes out to the side. And then land. And so left thigh parallel to the long side of the mat. Use a prop. So I find in yoga practice, it's often reflective of our life. So kind of a two-way street. And I find this struggles in practice oftentimes reflective of the struggles in life, primarily because we're not really giving ourselves permission to be kind to ourselves. Like we talk about the importance of kindness to others, but I think starting point is always with ourselves. And so one of the kindest things you can do is to allow yourself to have a prop in your practice, right? It's what's the big deal? And I think this is like, there's a lot to be said for occasionally making your practice much more supported and much easier. Again, especially when you are in the space of overwhelm, it's like, okay, that's my support system. So wherever you are, on your elbows, hands down, cradling your skull. Breathing. And again, you can either take it up into a chest opener. So this is very optional. You don't have to do it. It's not a deep back bend. You're not aiming for anything other than that sense of, or you can do that with or without a twist. So I glide my chest across towards the knee, elbow in front of the knee, and then twist. And again, these are maybe practices that you've done with me a million times before. And like I said, practices themselves are arbitrary. So maybe this doesn't really resonate as much with you. So, but once you get the idea of the kind of structure, how to create a core intention around the practice, you can play with your own poses. And again, inhale, derotate. So hands are grounded. Press back into downward facing dog. So again, free your leg. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lower the leg down. Take a few breaths. And then lower the knees down. So I'm going to take Balasana, child's pose, with the same blanket under the belly. Again, one of my long-term favorites. I think of this as a beautiful restorative, kind of yin restorative cross poses. And it's also when you're overwhelmed, if you're stressed, many people in my experience start to feel a lot of tension in the lower back. And that's to do with the psoas muscle, deep core muscle, going into sort of like a spasm. It's very, very emotional space. So you kind of like get into this very brace yourself, but also very defensive mode. I'm going to push forwards no matter what. And it causes all sorts of back pain. So my solution to this is child's pose, blanket, kind of thin-ish strip under the belly, into the belly. So I'm not on the ribs as such, in fact not at all. So the soft portion of the belly, find whatever you can find, however thin or thick you want it. Lean over it. So essentially increasing the pressure. Make sure that you haven't had your breakfast recently, otherwise you'll be seeing it again. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. This is no food practice for sure. And then usually, because you can't touch the floor here, you're going to need something underneath your forehead. And if child's pose is a no-go because you can't do it, or you have knees that are complaining, please don't overwhelm yourself with that. You can just lay on your back, hug the knees into your chest, so you flip your child's pose upside down. Or you can put a blanket, but lay flat on your front. Okay, so I'm just going to hang out here. And you have no option. You have to notice your breath. You just can't miss it. And so each time you inhale, you're then visualizing inflating your back. You inflate your back a few times, and that will ease the psoas tension, but also bring this attention to the thoracolumbar fascia, this area of mid-lower back portion, and any gripping that's happening there. And of course, your adrenals are here at the back, where your kidneys are, below the back low ribs, or behind, sorry. And, this is a really soothing practice in my humble opinion, but it's also very rejuvenating. So take a few breaths here. And so you can spend here, if you have the time, if you don't have the time, you just 30 seconds to a minute is sufficient. If you have time, spend here longer, and then eventually we'll come up. And this will be the ending, so I'm going to offer you corpse pose of sorts before leaving you be, as it was supposed to be a short practice. So you can use a chair, or you can have something like, I have like bricks and a bolster, similar things, whatever props you've got going. Essentially you want to lift your legs higher than your pelvis. Of course, there's always legs up the wall, legs up the sofa, legs up the chair. Anything you've got going at home, legs go up. Here, just for the kind of convenience, I put my bolster on top of 2 bricks. And then what I'm going to do is really just rest my legs up here. So, but chair will do just as fine. Just pop your legs up the chair. And then I recline into my corpse pose. And if you need to, so options usually, you can either cover your eyes and your ears with cloth, anything goes, anything clean you've got going there. You can also, if you feel particularly anxious, you can find something heavy. Just a heavy pillow will do, or you can use the same blanket roll and put it on your belly. And it just weighs there to help you to just ease that tension as that gripping in the breath. And hopefully some of it is gone anyway because of the practice. And the arms are resting then by your sides. And just start your corpse pose the same way you started your practice. Just take a few deep breaths out. And how does the container, which is the body, which is you, what does it feel like now? So again, I'm being present. So I'm noticing, I'm in here and now. This is where I am. And then I notice the ground underneath me, so orientation. And now I'm completely supported, 100%. I don't need to hold myself in space. And I notice how everything is. What is it like right now? What is it like? Lots shifted now. Always. You move the body, energy shifts, your emotions shift. Your emotions shift, your responses change. So the purpose of you practicing when you're not feeling very easy with yourself, the idea is that you are shifting. You're using the practice to shift your emotions so you can give yourself space to choose different responses. So you respond to situations differently. Give yourself an opportunity to do that. And then I'm allowing for a sense of ease to be there. I'm allowing myself to relax. I'm allowing myself time to digest. I'm allowing myself time to just be. I'm allowing myself time to experience myself in this peaceful, still, comfortable placement. And I'm paying attention to the movement of my breath. I let the breath settle in its natural rhythm. And just hang out here. So it doesn't matter whether you have 2 minutes or 20 minutes to do this. Always allow for some time to release any holding whatsoever. And when you're ready to come out, you can bring some movement into the body. So I'm just talking, you can ignore me altogether. You can just be as you are. But when you do come out, you'll just hug the knees in and bring some movement into the body, as we always do, very mindfully before sitting up. And then when you sit up, again, provide support, upright the spine, elongate the spine. And maybe you'll gather your hands. Maybe your eyes will stay closed, or you just blink them open, noticing space. But as you pause and lift the center of your chest, bowing to your hands, pause with a sense of gratitude to your teacher today, which was a sense of overwhelm. So it teaches us about our capacity to be present with all the things that are happening around us, or to us, I guess. So how much can we hold in our capacity in this world? How much can we hold? This is the teaching for today. And then smile. And if you're with me, bow. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.